Hi, this is Sunil Ramlall. I would like to share with you strategies into creating an HR strategic plan for your respective organizations. First of all, why do we create an HR strategic plan? In aligning people, processes, and organization outcomes, it's imperative that we understand where we're going, what resources we have today, and what it will take for us to achieve our organization outcomes. In a world of hyper competition, we are always looking for strategic sources in creating sustainable competitive advantages. So then, building the HR strategies and enabling us as HR professionals and executives and educators, of course, how do we utilize HR strategies to create those competitive advantages? I'll share with you a few slides and helping you create those strategies and hopefully you can utilize some of these within your organizations in creating your respective strategic plans. We all know that HR practices can help companies gain a competitive advantage. Whatever those competitive advantages are, HR practices can help to accommodate that. Second, virtually every HR function in the progressive companies, we're going through some sort of transformation process where we want to play a strategic role, fulfilling other roles. Here's a key though. For HR to become truly strategic in our orientation, we must view ourselves as a separate business entity. We have to be ingrained in the overall strategy of the organization. Fourth, our customer orientation is one of the most important changes in HR's attempt to become strategic. So, who do we serve? We serve the customers. These could be internal, these could be external. So, ensuring that we are maximizing our efforts in ensuring that we meet our customers' expectations and not only meet them, but to surpass them. Products of HR must be identified. What do we mean by that? What do we make happen in organizations? What are our deliverables? And how do we accomplish organization outcomes, including financial, profitability, earnings, return on assets, return on investments, etc.? How do we impact those? Then one of the last topics I'd like to talk about is technologies through which HR meets customer needs. It vary actually depending on the need being satisfied and the industry and the type of organization you're in. There are numerous categories of HRM activities. We start from the basic here, the transactional, the benefits administration, record keeping, employee services. These are basic administrative tasks. Then we have the traditional responsibilities within HR, the recruitment, training development, performance management, compensation, employee relations, etc. But critically here, the top part of the pyramid is where we actually create the most value, the transformational component of the HR. Here's where we, as HR leaders, should be spending our time building knowledge management capacities, the whole human capital. What are we doing as far as changing our culture, that's values, norms, and the strategic redirection, renewal, and management development? So, where are we? Where are you at in your organization? What are you spending your time on? Looking at that pyramid, where are you at? What do you think creates the most value? And where are we spending the most time? And where should we be spending the most time? So I want you to reflect. Depending on your assessment as to where you're spending your time and where you should be spending your time. Now, what are you doing and what are you making happen? What's the value that you create every day through your efforts? Are you spending your time mostly on the record keeping, the employee relations issues, or are you trying to help to radically transform your organization, change culture, do leadership development? Are you measuring critically what you're doing? Strategy has three components: formulation, implementation, and then third, evaluation. So, as you try to create your strategic plan, make sure that you are building a component for evaluation. So, as you look into uh, how you create your value and your strategic plan, I trust that we are spending more time here. Okay, so I created the topic there around being customer oriented, having that customer oriented perspective. What does that really mean? Let's break this down. So in HRM, we're looking at customer needs, the commitment and the competent employees to really drive that. We have customers who are line managers, strategic planners, and all of the employees within the organization. Using performance management, staffing have the right people, performance management rewards training. Then building on that now, what is this process for the HR strategy? Of course, it all starts doing that environmental scan. It's like a SWOT analysis, as many of us may be accustomed to. What's happening in the industry? What's happening within the organization? What's happening in the geographic area in which we operate? So that's all. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are opportunities for growth? What are the threats facing us? We look at, for example, uh, McDonald's just recently earned a profit for the first time this quarter, and it's October and almost the end of October for this quarter in the past 2 years. What has enabled? Of course, they have their products that they do, but if you go into McDonald's, they are working really hard on that customer service. They have lots of competition in the local fast food area, and depending on the geographic area. We look at Apple and Samsung and everybody else trying to make smartphones, and then Apple trying to differentiate itself through the watch or TV or something like that. So, what's happening? And think about your environment in which you operate, in which you work. What's happening there? And depending on that, again, the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, that whole external environmental scan, you identify strategic business issues. How can we compete? What are we good at? Where are we lacking? What are we not so good at? Are there people issues? Do we have the competencies today that will enable us to compete given all that we identified in the environmental scan? So what are people issues? Do you have the organization capability? Do you have the right attitude? Are we using right behaviors? Are we positively reinforcing through our performance management and reward system the attitudes and behaviors that would drive the business strategies? From these now, we develop the HR strategy. HR strategy would look at the people issues and totally and completely be part of the strategic issue. Our HR strategies enable us here. So if you're Apple, you want complete innovation. Who do you hire? You hire the most creative minds out there globally. You find the best minds. the best brains that will be innovative for your organization. Your target corporation, what sort of talent are you looking for? Fast, fun, friendly, yes, but people who are going to think outside of the box, who can come up with ideas as to create different processes. What do customers necessarily want? And how are you going to get the products to them on time and have enough of those products? So it's all part of the HR strategy. Now, I frequently argue that even those of us with graduate degrees, those become obsolete real quickly. If you're a graduate student, you are pursuing your MBA or graduate degree in HR. Uh, if we do not continue to learn, those degrees become obsolete completely quickly. We become obsolete in the sense that the world around us is changing all the time, and we have to be able to adapt very quickly. If we do not adapt, what's going to happen? We are going to lose to customers. We are going to lose to our competitors, not to our customers, but we're going to lose to our competitors. We will we will even become obsolete in the sense that we don't have the right products, we don't have the right services, the right strategies that will enable us to compete. So again, here it's just again developing right strategy. Of course, then we have to communicate the HR strategy, ensure everyone in the organization knows what is it that we're trying to do. Everybody's on board, they buy into that. We positively reinforce what we are trying to do, and again, have high expectations. Uh, what are some of the types of cost benefit analysis that we can do as we evaluate our HR strategies to ensure that they are impacting positively the firm performance? In the left category, we have capitalization of salary, net present value of expected wage payments, return on human assets, and human investments. Then for the utility analysis, we have turnover cost, absenteeism and sick leave cost, gains from selection and training programs impacted positive employee attitudes. Let's break this down. How many employees do we have? What is our profitability? We create ratio per employee. That's the profitability that we're making. Now, what if we do less and create more? It's not always advisable to ask employees to do more with less resources, but using the same resources, how can we do more? So are we working smarter? Are we spending time on the most value added strategies, on the value added areas of the organization that would drive performance? So how can we change the return on human assets and human investments? Same number of employees, can we improve our performance through developing the right competencies to make our efforts more efficient and productive? And we measure that over time. Do we have the right people and the right attitudes? If we hire the right people, we retain the right people, we are able to improve on this ratio. Utility analysis, I mean, most of us have been doing this sort of analysis for years. But here's where I think we have to spend some time when we talk about the real value added aspects of HR. So turnover cost, I think some of the stats out there, for every 10 employees, professional employees that leave the organization, it costs about $1 million. So as we reduce some turnover, we do want some turnover to create new ideas and so on. But as we reduce the unintended turnover, we will see higher productivity, less time that we have to spend retraining employees, less time we have to spend in the whole selection process. What's happening too is that when the employees are constantly changing, those that are there still have to pick up the slack, and they sometimes become burnt out. So turnover has the direct and indirect impact. So hopefully we can reduce the turnover cost. So as we're looking at all of these here, of course, my intent is for you to critically reflect on your own organization. What are you doing? Are you impacting uh, productivity, profitability? Building an HR strategy is not an easy task. HR strategy is a component. It is fully ingrained in the overall strategic plan of the organization. We benchmark, we study, we seek advice, we incorporate others from different departments and come together, pool ideas. Where are we at today? What resources do we have? How are we going to utilize these resources given the environmental scan that we conducted? What are the core business issues? What are the people issues? Now, develop that HR plan, that HR strategy, communicate that to everybody. Can you do that? I'm sure you can. So it may take a day, it may take weeks for you to really pull that together. You have to have the right people in the room. You have to have the right people to challenge your thinking. Are we going deep enough as far as uh, positioning ourselves through HR strategies to create that competitive advantage? How are we different from our competitors? How is McDonald's different from the competitors? Is it only through food, or is it through the people interaction? Is it through the customer service? You go into Best Buy, the knowledge that the employees have, impeccable, most of the time anyway, and that's in part how Best Buy competes. Knowledgeable employees. We walk into a Best Buy store, we want to have knowledge, we want to find out about product. An employee should be knowledgeable in telling us exactly what we need to learn about that product. So hopefully this is beneficial in helping you siphon through what an HR strategic plan should look like. How do we come up? We talk a lot about HR strategy, but how we really do it. So in sum, do the environmental scan. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are the opportunities that we have? What are the threats? Given that, we identify our core business strategies as to how we want to compete. Do we have the resources, the intellectual resources, intellectual capabilities, the human capital in which to be successful with the core business strategies? From that now, we decide how to hire, how to develop the competencies of employees, the workforce, and we develop the HR strategic plan that way. And critically, though, I mean, of course, we communicate that to the entire organization. We develop our recruitment plan based on that HR strategic plan. We develop performance management plan based on that strategic plan. And of course, we have to reward the positive attributes and behaviors that would help us achieve our outcomes. So send me any questions, call me anytime, and I can provide more advice and concrete examples if you so choose. Trust that you got a better idea about HR strategy and developing an HR plan to fully align people, strategies, and organizational outcomes. Thank you for listening.